right, welcome to the Actors Buzz. We are a brand new podcast. I would use the word fledgling, but it sounds like a naked baby bird falling from the nest. Not exactly the visual I want you all to have in your heads. So this is very simply, it's a podcast by actors for actors. And I'm talking about actors in the grind. If you are currently dipping your toe in the pool of the acting world, it's a hobby turned passion. We want to help you get that passion to a career. Everyone that you meet, all of the co-hosts, everybody's in the grind right now, doing the thing, doing the auditions, doing the callbacks, doing the holy crap, I said yes to too much and now I don't have time, or why has it been a week of cricket? Hopefully while you're here, you have an aha moment or you find some encouragement. At the end of the day, you're not alone. No matter how it feels in any given moment, there's a community out there of people doing exactly what you do, and we want you to find it. So there you go. By the way, do the things. Hit all of the little bells and whistles and symbols and whatevers, the who's its and what's its, like, subscribe, notify. You guys get the drift. It's the algorithm gods. So create your sacrifice to them on our behalf. There you go. Welcome, Beth. Today, I would love to introduce you to my beautiful, stunning, hysterical, talented, probably the sexiest, sultry voice I have encountered, the enigmatic and adorable Beth. Welcome, Beth.
Hello, hello.
There she is. You guys, Beth has several secret talents. The one that we're going to talk about today, I think will strike near and dear to many of your hearts. We're going to talk about RPGs. It's not a military grade weapon. I did not know that. I'm learning. Beth, what is RPG? What the heck is it?
It stands for role-playing games, and there's also a expanded version of that acronym, which is TTRPGs, which is tabletop RPGs, which is what I specialize in. Not that I don't specialize in it, but it's what I play.
I too specialize in things. It's fine. Wait, it's a TTRPG.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. So tabletop RPG, you guys, I don't know diddly crap about this. So I am learning with all of you. If you're an expert, please stop rolling your eyes. I can hear you. So tabletop RPG would be things like Dungeons and Dragons, Magic the Gathering. Would that be?
No, Magic the Gathering isn't classed as it's a card game. It's not a role-playing game.
Oh, it's like Pokemon?
Warhammer, however, is classed as a role-playing game.
Steer us to the acting side of it. So Beth, you do both, right? And I do. I think some would argue that it is both, that RPG is both. So walk me through the acting elements of RPG. Like, how do you incorporate your acting skills in a TTRPG? Damn it, you guys, I'm learning.
Just say RPG.
Okay, an RPG. Thank you. Bless you. Go ahead.
So I do see them as inextricably linked, because for me, if it wasn't for role-playing games, I wouldn't be acting. Really? I wasn't the typical theatre kid when I was at school. I was very much sciencey. So when I got into acting, I was, as I said, playing D&D. But I feel one of the main skills that you get from role-playing games is the ability to create a character and to know that character inside and out. And obviously, when you're acting, you're not going to always have the freedom to create a character from the ground up.
True.
But one thing that I find useful is if you are playing a character, create that character in a role-playing game with those same constraints. And then as you play that character in that role-playing game, that enables you to have a better mindset of what the character's headspace is like.
Much of what we strive for in our acting is authentic reactions. And it can be difficult to not let who I am leak so much into the character that I'm essentially playing myself in a costume, right? So that ability to sink into the character's mindset, the fiber of who they are, makes sense because I can bring that into my acting roles and react far more authentically, you know? Okay.
Absolutely.
That makes logical sense to my very logical brain. And I'm approaching this as somebody who's never played an RPG. I have 5 adult kids, and 3 of them meet weekly to play Dungeons and Dragons. And I think a couple of them have several games going with different groups. So I feel like this is like a masterclass for me that I can now, when they're talking about things and I'm nodding and smiling, sorry kids, if you're even listening, but it's true. I don't know what the hell you're ever talking about. So this is good. It makes sense. It's turning this into my language, which I appreciate. You mentioned something about it. You wouldn't be acting if not for the RPG experience that you've had. So tell me, I'm curious, what skill set or what interest pulled you into acting, and what did RPG give you as a person to help you kind of make that jump?
It literally gave me my start because I was in a D&D group, and my dungeon master at the time, Tasha, had decided, I want to write an audio drama. And she was like, I need a female lead. I like your voice. Can you please audition? And so I did. And that's when I got the role of Dr. Jade Santos on Ghosts in the Stars.
Love it. And then you just kept going with it.
I literally got the bug.
It's real. It's real. It's totally real. Yes. Okay. So that kind of leads into the next point, which is, what did it do for your confidence, and how has it helped you? Because we all have a comfort zone. Mine is sweatpants and my couch. Everybody's got one. So how has the RPG helped build your confidence? And then what has it taught you about your comfort zone? Do you stay in it? Do you move out of it? Where are you at with that?
Well, when I first started role-playing, forgive me if I'm getting too personal here, but when I first started playing role-playing games, I was not in a good place. I had just come out of the hospital after a stay for mental health, and it was something my husband suggested as something to get me out of the house and get me meeting people, and like to build my confidence. And at first I was very skeptical about it because I was still very wary at having, like, I was still very ill, kind of. But having that experience that you get when you are in a group of people who are all from different walks of life, and they all have different beliefs, but you can all come together for one core reason, and that's to have fun. Might sound sappy, but I think role-playing games, and as an extension, acting, probably saved my life.
I don't think it's sappy at all, and I don't think it's as unheard of as you think. I talk to actors all the time who found this art form at a place of loneliness and isolation in their lives, and maybe an edge of desperation. You know, it takes sometimes to get to that place for us to be willing to try something new. You know, when we get to the place like, well, what the hell do I have to lose? I already feel like crap. So, you know, and then you're talking a lot about community and the people that you like. I would assume, correct me if I'm wrong, that in the RPG world, you have met people that your normal, air quotes, life, you would not have encountered them, that your walks of life don't cross, except
Absolutely.
for this shared thing.
Absolutely. Some of my best friends are role players.
Mm-hmm.
I'm literally married to a role player.
Okay, so you join this RPG group. You don't know everybody. You all come from different walks of life. One of the things that I love about the acting community is the same thing. It's that without this shared passion, I would not have met so many of the people in my life that have enriched and taught me and have become, those friends that even if I don't hear from them in a year, when we see each other, when we connect, it's instant because we have this commonality, this shared experience. Is it that, or what does it feel like in that RPG world to find that community?
I would say, in a way, when you become a role player, if you are like me and you've wandered through life very much like feeling like the outsider, when you come into a role playing group, a lot of the time it feels like you found your people. And it is very much the same with acting.
When you get around people with that shared interest, I think there's the shared interest, but there's a good chance you're wired internally similarly because, right, you think creatively or you think scientifically and you're analyzing things and you're tick, tick, tick process driven, or whatever those shared interests are. You have that interest partly because of how your internal wiring goes. So it makes sense that when I get around other people with that shared interest, I'm probably finding people where I can communicate in a shorthand, where we're already kind of clicking on that same level. So I love that.
And I think one of the key things that role playing teaches you is that no matter what label is put on you by society, or high school technically is a society, isn't it? But like whether you are the popular, the jock,
right,
the nerd, the ghost, anything like that, you are still a person. And role playing teaches you, and I suppose it's the same with acting. It teaches you that you can still get on with that person because they are still a person.
A whole human being inside of there. Something you said resonates because I think we see actors doing in their native environment, in their natural habitat, and they're acting and they seem gregarious and outgoing, and we assume that actors are extroverts and that they're people and that they're always on. But the truth is, most actors, blanket statement here, so there's always exceptions, but most actors are introverts, and we refuel in that alone time, and we need that away time to recharge. So is it the same in the RPG community? Do you find that most people in the RPG world are also introverted by nature, and then this is the one place where do you get what I'm saying?
I do. I would say either a combination of introvert or possibly a little leaning towards ambivert. So it's situational whether they're introverted or not.
Yeah.
So when they're with their people, they are quite extroverted and quite bubbly, which is how I am. But a lot of them are introverted. And to be honest, now that I'm thinking about it more, it seems to me like the role-playing to acting pipeline is literally just a straight line.
Yeah. Yep. I don't mean to, oh God, I feel like we're so new. So if you're gonna like hate in the comments, just bring it. I can take it. I'm Irish. It's all right. Bring it on. I don't get my feelings hurt. So you just let me have it, RPGers. Is that, if that's even what you're called? I don't know. But it feels to me like the RPG is acting. It is acting.
Essentially.
And you're just doing it. The script is the campaign. And it's probably a mix of scripted and improv. That am I so far? Beth will tell me, so you guys maybe don't even have to, because Beth will light me up. But is that like, does that track?
No, you're absolutely right. I mean, I keep saying to you that I am terrified of improv. And my husband will sit there snorting at me, as he is now, and just be like, "Hun, you've been playing role-playing games for 8 years.
Yeah.
You already do improv."
Yes. Do you know what? I want to talk about that, because I do think that there's an intimidation factor for improv, right? Because what we see, the improv that we can tap into and watch, we're looking at SNL sketch, right? We're looking at Whose Line Is It Anyway? We're seeing these masters of the art who live, eat, and breathe that art form at their peak, post edit. Right? Yeah, I know you guys, Saturday Night Live is live. I get it. But don't think they don't rehearse, because they do. And so we equate that level of performative improv with improv. And then I go, I can't improv. Are you kidding me? Throw me in an SNL sketch and I'm probably going to throw up. Like that's, I don't improv. But we do improv. We improv every day in our life when we walk into a situation with a loose concept of what it's going to be, and then we just have to fill in the blanks. And so I think improv gets a bad rep because we're only seeing it at its best. It's rare that we have the opportunity to see the whole process and watch people struggle through it. But my question then is, the skills that you use to get into character, to be character and embody a character, do you find yourself using those same skills in your acting world as well?
I do.
Okay.
Absolutely. One thing I would definitely say, role play. I know that method gets a very harsh rap, and it should, for the way that it is taught in a lot of places. I mean, the way that you taught me to do it is amazing. Because obviously that's how we first met, in method classes.
Oh my gosh. Oh yeah. Okay. Oh wow. Yeah. For those
Almost
of you who don't know,
ago.
I have a massive bone to pick with method acting, and I have for the last 30 years. But I do believe that there are some great concepts. I just am not sure that when we teach it, we care about the mental health of the actor. And I think we're seeing the fallout of that. And we're finally starting to acknowledge the fallout of it. And so that's what Beth's referring to, is that when I'm teaching method acting, my goal is to bring out great performances and authenticity while protecting the mental health of the actor, because at the end of the day, that character has to exit the room and take their shiz with them. So, so anyway, Beth, yes, method acting and RPGing and skills you use in acting.
It teaches you a healthy way to do it, because as soon as you walk out of that room where you role play, that character stays there.
Yep.
Or it goes to a part of your brain where you can still be thinking about the character, but it's not consuming your entire being.
Yeah.
You're not thinking you're walking out of that room to go fight a dragon.
Right. But if a dragon shows up, I know who I'm calling. I'm just say
Absolutely.
I have a directory, and yeah. So, okay. You mentioned something too about, and I don't remember if it was before we started recording, so we might, sorry if we're catching you up, but that acting can be really lonely. It can be very isolating.
Absolutely.
Talk to me about that and how RPG has helped with that.
One of the things that I have found as well, like obviously when you're dealing with the legal side of acting, as soon as you get a script, usually you have to sign an NDA, which is just a reality, because obviously directors and writers are trying to protect their work, which is understandable, and protect the profitability of that work. So you can't really discuss work with other people.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't consult other people for advice about getting into a character, especially if that character revolves around particular plot points in the story. But if you use that character to create a character in a role-playing game and then play that character in the role-playing game that you are playing, that gives you back that sense of community. And it gives you not only a way to spend time with people, but as I said, like, it gives you a way to play the character and not be in your, like what happened with Heath Ledger, to be stuck in your room for 6 weeks, not seeing anyone.
That's I think that's mind-blowing, right? The ability to, okay, so I got cast in this role and I signed this NDA and we don't start shooting for another 6 weeks and I can't talk with anybody about this. And I'm trying to prep and get into my character and figure out my character's backstory, what information I haven't been given in the script. I can take the core of that character and use that in my RPG role playing. And yes, I may not actually, you guys got, again, I just feel like I have to apologize, but let's just say that I get cast as some kind of a villain, and I'm the antagonist in this film, and I can't talk about it.
So you're an evil mage.
Okay, so then I can come into the RPG and play an evil mage, which is like a magician.
Wizard, yeah.
Okay, see? Woo, yes. Got it.
Proud of you.
Got it. And I can take those character traits and I can flesh them out, and I can practice and I can learn about in community without hurting my NDA and without isolating myself and becoming so wrapped up in this character that I can't separate, because I'm practicing every day. Every time we meet to play RPG, I'm practicing the art of stepping into, and most importantly, out of that character.
Absolutely. And when you do play a character that you are set to play on screen in a role-playing game, that character feels like an old friend by the time you come to play them. And also, especially if it's a movie that you're doing on screen, then if it's getting a full theatre release, you can take your role-playing group with you to see the movie.
Yes.
And just look at them at the end with a knowing smile and just go, did that character look familiar or seem familiar?
Yes. Yes. Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay. One other thing I want to touch on before we're going to wrap this up with this quote that Beth has from a dear friend. So talk to me about the art of the suspension of disbelief and what RPG allows you to learn about doing that and embodying that and making that possible in your acting.
Well, role-playing is a game of faith, essentially. God, that makes it sound like a cult, but
it makes it sound very important. Very important. Yeah.
It's essentially it's a game of the mind. So essentially there's a term within role-playing, theatre of the mind. Which again ties it to acting. Because a lot of the time when you are playing D&D, you're not, I mean, there can be miniatures and pieces on a table, but a lot of the time it's up here. But you can't play a role-playing character if you don't have suspension of disbelief. Because you're going to be like, dragons aren't real.
Right.
Oh, come on, kobolds aren't real characters. Is that really a halfling?
But and you're doing it.
I've played with them.
Oh my gosh. And you're doing it corporately. You're doing it as a group, which is huge in the acting world, because together, especially you guys, if you're doing any kind of green screen acting, which is more and more prevalent, your ability to suspend disbelief and to really believe that the dinosaur is chasing you, and to embody authentic terror communally, like if 5 of us are running from a T-Rex and only 2 of us look like we're afraid, when we're in the audience, we can tell. Like I can tell that 2 of you are being chased by a real T-Rex and 3 of you are being chased by
a guy in a suit.
Right. So that community, that ability to together believe a single reality it's essential, and it's difficult. God bless Stranger Things, because I think it brought D&D into the cool realm,
Absolutely, because it brought it back because like obviously there was the Satanic Panic during the 80s, which massively hurt D&D.
But you did have the cartoon was a big boon on Saturday morning.
Harry did also just mention about the cartoon, the D&D cartoon.
Yeah.
Obviously with Frank Welker. And was it Peter Cullen?
Peter Cullen, Donnie Most, Adam Rich.
Yeah, but if you grew up in a household like mine in the Midwest.
Oh, good grief, yeah.
We didn't watch that because Satan could jump from the screen right into your soul. So D&D was like, I lived through the Satanic Panic. I want a t-shirt with one of those Facebook flags. I survived the Satanic Panic. Because
Marked safe from the Satanic Panic.
Yes. But I think if it didn't like hurt the RPG world in a numbers way, it definitely drove it deeper underground, which probably secretly helped the numbers, because there's nothing a teenager wants to do more than something they've been told they're not allowed to do. But I think that
it also created another one of our dice, because
really?
Originally we only had 6 dice, but when the Satanic Panic became a thing, like there was church groups that would go and raid like D&D groups. They started including what looked like caltrops, which became the D4, and the D4 is a pyramid, and it has like hell if you stand on it.
Like Legos.
Yes.
Worse.
Yep. Yeah. And I think that Stranger Things took the edge off for people. I think it became approachable, and it became, and then of course, it became a fad again. And I think that once you get in, you probably really enjoy it, and then it just continues. So,
and I think Critical Role has also helped a lot, but in the same realm as there is with improv, like where we put Saturday Night Live on a pedestal,
right?
In terms of improv, there's also the same sort of thing in the role-playing world. Because they're always like, I can't run a D&D game or I can't play a D&D game because I'm not going to be good enough. I'm not going to be like Matt Mercer.
Oh.
But at the end of the day, he has a full team. He has editing. The only reason everything looks so flawless on the streams is because it's edited together.
Right.
And the fluffs are taken out.
Yep. So you're seeing action to action to action to action. Right. Yep. Yeah. I love this. I wanted to talk to you about this, because I know that you're knowledgeable about it and passionate about it, and you live in both worlds, so the skills that translate, the real tangible acting skills that you learn and grow in the RPG world that translate into your acting world. And I know that there's a lot of actors out there. I get asked all the time, how do I get better? And it's such a broad question. There's a million ways that you can get better. I think this is one of them that crosses multiple disciplines that you will use in your acting. with the benefits of fun and community and socializing and, things that we need as human beings, that outside of our acting skills as a human, we need community. We just do. Even introverts need community. So, okay, before we go, you read a quote. Would you give me that quote again and kind of give me the context?
I would. The quote is from a very good friend of mine, Matt Geary. I picked his brains on a lot of this because he's been role playing a hell of a lot longer than me. And he said I could quote him, so thank you for that. And it was, a good actor can tell when something went wrong with a scene, but a role player and a good role player can sense when something is going wrong with a scene, and they can make adjustments in that moment to change it and save the scene.
I love it. I love it. Yep. And I think that, again, that's an essential skill as an actor, because I know film acting and television acting, there's the cut and take, but budgets are real. Time is real. We have the light in this angle for this amount of time. And so the ability to sense before it's so far off the tracks that we have to cut, the ability to adjust and to be flexible are as important in film and television as they are on the stage. On the stage, it's just more obvious because it's happening live and you don't get a retake. You've got to make that adjustment on the fly. So if as an actor, you can develop that skill of adaptability and flexibility and that innate sense that something isn't landing, something is going screwy, and make those adjustments, number one, it's going to make you more sought after as an actor, because production crews and directors, producers value that skill so much. Anything you can do in your role to make their jobs easier. The acting community is a small town and word gets out, both good and bad. And so
absolutely,
I think that's huge. I think it's huge. Okay, Beth, what didn't I ask you that you wish I would have?
One message I do have for the actor out there who is already out there on the grind and like doing the hustle and doing the thing, and they want to sharpen their skills a little more, but they are maybe nervous about trying role-playing games. As an actor, you already have a leg up in terms of role-playing. You have the skills. You'll have to learn the mechanics. The mechanics are secondary when it comes to a role-playing game. You will get rules lawyers. Ignore them. That is my advice. Ignore them. In terms of D&D, I always run by rule of cool. Cool? We'll do it. And if it's not breaking the game, like, I don't know, one-shotting a Tarask. But if you are an actor and you're worried about approaching D&D, don't be. Because I can guarantee there is a group out there for you. There are groups online through a site called Roll20. There are groups that are just women only, because I know that women can sometimes find role-playing a little intimidating to get into because of the way some people are, which I can understand. I have been in groups with that. But just give it a try. That's all I can say. Just give it a try.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Beth, thank you so much. Thanks for hanging out.
You're welcome.
You guys, we are going to drop a new podcast every Monday. It's always going to be a different topic, but it's going to be related to acting. And you'll see a ton of different co-hosts on here. You'll meet the team. Come check us out at our community. Link is in whatever page you're in. You'll find the link. Whether you're watching us on YouTube or you're listening on Apple, Spotify, blah, 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 insert sales pitch here. We'd love to hear from you. Comment, talk to me. Tell me about your RPG experience or your improv experience, horror stories, successes. I want to hear them all. We want to hear from you. So thanks again for hanging out with us, and we will see you next week. Thanks, Beth.
Thank you.
Thanks, Harry.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.